Now is the vibrate. So that family vibe, that family factions vibe that's been coming up, that is something that's real. You know, again, as above, so below, as within, so without. You know, our parents are there just to make sure we don't, like, fucking burn ourselves as quote unquote children in our little new bodysuit, making sure our bodysuit lasts long enough to the point where as we start gaining better control over our vehicle, then we could maneuver our vehicle through our own inner guidance, you know what I'm saying? But the whole aspect with ancestors and that connection is like realizing that it's for us to be, ourselves to the fullest, you know what I'm saying? Like listening to our inner guidance and, expressing ourselves uniquely in our own sense, like what's happening right now is that energy of like, breaking out of like, again, certain traditions no longer serve a highest good. And it was a tradition just to get you to a certain point so you could, again, like be that expression, you know what I'm saying? Hence why every time I bring up like the God energy or that God expression is those beings who express themselves in this realm without giving a fuck and also do it in a unique manner, you know what I'm saying? Like you think about, and again, this is outside the human shit. So as much as you could call like some of these people, oh man, they're an agent, you know what I'm saying? Michael Jackson was an agent, or Martin Luther King was an agent, or fucking Paramahansa Yogananda was an agent, and they was agents, you know. No matter what you want to tag on them on the human level, they were being themselves again, like playing this game to the fullest on some Rick and Morty shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when what it was, Marty was playing that little game where he was somebody else's life. Playing the game as somebody else's life, and only he was playing it for about 20 minutes or an hour, but it was a lifetime in the game. Where he being somebody through the years up until he got old. As a matter of fact, because it was something where he ended up becoming like a person who owned a rug business or some shit. And he did something, and Marty, Rick bullshitted him about it. But that's the whole aspect, is us, and Aquarius energy supporting that. Because again, even with the zodiac, and the life path numbers and all these different things, again, they can be helpful, it's a balanced situation. Because again, we speak about the number 13. The number 13 deals with, that Christ energy of breaking out of the 12 disciplines, you know what I'm saying? Like realizing to express yourself uniquely, you know what I'm saying? And the zodiac signs were just a part of what you signed up for in this algorithm, you know what I'm saying? Like certain energies you want to allow for them to like play out in some way, form, or fashion, so you could heal certain like karmic energies and energies you dealt with, through your past. What's up, everybody? Though, see y'all. See y'all. Excuse me, this thing acting all crazy. Hi to God, RDLS, I self, Larty, Ganja, Curly, Shawnee, 86, Peachy, Molo. What's up, Sandra Novak? Mr. Jacory, what's up, what's up? Somebody fell out of the ladder. Or the Rick and Morty, their vibes. But yeah, so I just, stepping into our greater version, you know what I'm saying? A lot of us also may be feeling like a lot of shadow work, because nothing too. We do have to integrate our energies. It's about harmonizing, like realizing like it's the yin and the yang. I always felt like this and would always just say, for lack of a better word, but shout out to Seven Bomar for actually creating the word. And I'm loud. I catch myself feel like I'm hollering with these headphones. But Seven Bomar created a term called, and instead of saying demons, because he was like straight up like the word demon is almost like the word nigga. And I'm like, you know what? In the context of like when people take the word nigga into the derogatory aspect, you know what I'm saying? Because again, we could use that same word, and still mean a aspect of endearment. I get, like, what's up, my demon? So the flip side, what I'm saying, could be like that. But right now it's getting to a place of understanding our darkness, understanding, the wholeness of our being, what I'm saying? We're not just light, and if we are light, it's dark light and bright light, or however you want to say it, but it's both sides of the spectrum, what I'm saying? Like, we cannot run from our shadow aspects, what I'm saying? Because then when you look at the situation, like, like those moments where you was like, man, God fucked up, or God don't listen to me, or God don't, what I'm saying, see my point of view in this situation. Imagine how, a demon, or a quote unquote, again, like a opportunist. That's what Seven Bomar call a demon. Opportunists, like they opportunists on pulling in energy. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. They serve a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Just like you got certain animals that scavenge, certain animals that hunt. Certain animals that, what I'm saying, do different things. In order to be intertwined in this ecosystem, and all animals are a representation of an energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we are the play out of the no thing having the experience, you know what I'm saying? Like that primordial darkness, from darkness let there be light. When you close your eyes, you know what I'm saying, you could have visualizations that could, line up in your physical, but it was due to going into that darkness. Hence why the wintertime is such a meditative state, being are good for reflecting inwardly, because it's dark outside, you know what I'm saying? Like, that all goes together. But right now, again, just that whole aspect of, like, yeah, we dealing with, connecting with ancestors. I mean, just like with anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, where our parents are supporters, and in some way, form, or fashion, they're supporting the change of their old traditions. You know what I'm saying? Like, your parents help you out, or like certain people in your family help you out, but they're actually helping you to change the old traditions in some way, form, or fashion. Just like getting passed down certain genetic codes, certain vibrational signatures through quote unquote genes, where I'm getting these aspects from my parents, from my family, but I'm actually using it to deter from, what we were always doing, you know what I'm saying? And that's what the whole aspect is, and that's the test. Like, are you gonna stay trying to listen to tradition and doing things the same way? Like, and that's a macrocosmic loop, where, as a soul, you're playing out the same thing you always did in the traditions or things of that sense, you know what I'm saying? And I say always because at some point you knew it was about just, being in your moment to the fullest, and just being that expression to the fullest, you know what I'm saying? And being about that balance, the light and dark, being whole in your being, and again, we get into that place where, in that Aquarius energy, again, in connection with that, is again like guards in a jailhouse, you know what I'm saying? Like zodiac signs of the 12 movie specialists, are they like guards in the jailhouse? And when a certain guard is on a certain cell block, it's better, it's more favorable to do certain things. That doesn't mean that you have to dictate every action or move you make due to where those security guards going to be at. I keep saying security guards, but those little people, the little damn, I always forget their name, in the jailhouse. Again, it's like, not, we could use this zodiac information, use life path numbers. Your life path number is adding up, the month you were born, the day, in the year, and reducing it or bringing it in down to one number. You know what I'm saying? And that expresses an aspect. And these are just tools, to help you realize, part of aspects of what you came down here to express. But at the same time, again, tapping into that that 13 energy, that Christos energy that's breaking out of the disciplines, the 12 disciples, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's all that is, you know. Correctional officer, yeah, all that, you know. But yeah, stepping into that crystalline body and harmonizing the whole being, you know what I'm saying? Where it's not one side against the other, but it's harmonizing, because that's a strong realization. A lot of people probably still dealing with that aspect right now, because again, that's a lot of aspects of why you're not experiencing your life to the fullest, is because you still got like little blockages of duality, where you look at this person is right or this person is wrong, whether it's the way they look, the way they dress, the way they act, or whatever, but you still in some way, form, or fashion in your consciousness got this separative look at things, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this different from me. Like, oh, the Illuminati and the Rothschild family, they, you know, everything else is a part of, you know, my creation. Because another thing too, it goes back to being a parent, you know what I'm saying? Like, our creator in general, but you know, this is our creation, you know, everything in it, you know what I'm saying? From the fucking Donald Trumps and parasites to the fucking sunshine and butterflies is all our creation, you know what I'm saying? And to neglect any aspect of your creation, again, even the shadow aspect, again, as above, so below, as within, so without. What happens when we ignore certain things within ourselves, when we ignore certain shadows? They get bigger and they get more traumatic and they fuck with us even more, you know what I'm saying? And hence, again, also when we blaming things as like bad, or this is like something that should be, you know, distinguished because it's bad. Like, no, everything serves its purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, the pressure, yeah, you could see pressure as something bad, but it's how you become a diamond, or how your pipe busts if you're not strong enough to be a diamond. But again, like, as a part, the contrast is what creates the experience, you know what I'm saying? And you know, all that, the European this, Illuminati that, or those brethren some sellouts this and all that, like, that shit, you know, there's a bigger situation that's going on, you know, and hence back to the aspect of like kindergarten to first grade. I mean, kindergarten, you know, in being in grade school within this realm, you know what I'm saying, where, you know, some beings get it on a higher consciousness level. When I say higher or this and that, it's not, again, because we're talking about this right now, it's not to the point of like getting in the ego place of like, oh, I'm better than you, or, you know what I'm saying? Because then that's getting in the form of separation and duality, you know? Because again, like, different factions, different aspects of the family, you know what I'm saying? Like, the Garden of Eden, or this earthly plane, you know, was a experiment, you know. And again, this is before we dropped ourselves down into bodysuits. We were a bigger aspect of an archetypical consciousness. Hence why a lot of us connect to certain, you know, deities or gods in that sense of it, because we do have a stronger connection with one energy more than the others, but always realizing all those different aspects exist within us. And when we working, you know, dealing with altar work and all this, again, altar work, alter your consciousness and tapping into that energy. You're not worshiping anything, you know. You don't want to move from the skillet to the frying pan of like taking your religious aspects of praising God and praising the Lord and just give it different names, but you're basically doing the same thing, you know, not acknowledging that you are, you know, a walking version of the universe, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of this exists inside of you, and it's not for you to worship anything. And even another thing too, with some, again, egos on all levels. We are ancient beings. Some of us have strong memories of being tapped into like that demiurge energy, where some of us, you know, but this where it comes into, you know, that aspect of like, uh when you're looking at it from an ego perspective, like, you know, because there is this perspective of being a god in the sense of like being remembered. Like, I'm expressing my uniqueness so much so that I'm gonna be remembered. You know, like, little children gonna be talking about Michael Jackson and Tupac and James Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these different figures. You know, for a long ass. You know, even O.J. Simpson popped into my as if to say, like all of them, Hitler, O.J. Simpson, like all these different energies, you know what I'm saying, come down here to you know, to be that expression to the fullest, you know what I'm saying, and have that remembrance, you know, because what we do when we play a game, you know, oh, what's the highest score in the game? You know what I'm saying? Like, who scored high? Well, Michael Jackson scored pretty high. The soul who chose to be Michael Jackson last time, you know, that soul is experiencing this little game, because it's always like, you know, being a high level influencer. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, you either create the wave or you get caught up in somebody else's wave, and that's just the nature of the being, you know what I'm saying? And, of course, we have a balance in, you know, consumption and production, you know what I'm saying? Like, as much as I produce videos, I've watched videos, I watch, you know, Netflix or things on TV, things of this nature, you know what I'm saying? But, again, it goes back to the balance. And that's all we dealing with too within this realm is a tesseract. Like, if you look up tesseract, Tesseract, if you look up tesseract animation, it should show you like a cube, and it got a cube outside, so there's a cube within a cube, and that cube, like the inner cube implodes outwardly and then goes back, you know, inwardly, in essence, like imploding, exploding type of vibe. Just like our torus field, it goes implosion, you know, and then explode. Now, which it always kind of imploded because it's going in, but, you know, implosion, outplosion. Just like breathing, that's another thing that allows for us to see the balance in things, you know, where it's not one-sided. Because if I try to get one-sided and be like, just oxygen is the only way. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens to us when we do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's a perfect example of, like, trying to stay on one side of polarity is holding your breath or not trying to breathe in at all. So whether you, like, exhale and you like, I'm not breathing in, or if you breathe in and you're like, I'm not going to exhale. But if you try to stay in one polarity, it's going to get to the point where you like, are you, you know what I'm saying? Like, the pendulum got to swing back the other way, and it's going to swing strong because you've been trying to hold it on that one side, you know what I'm saying? And breathing is an example of that, you know. And again, that's what I was speaking on in that, in parts of that video with the COVID aspect. Because, again, this is just all a part of the game, you know, because it's all us, you know, again, when it's all said and done. Like, yeah, I'm like, you know, that aspect of source being expressed through the physical body, which we call Ray, you know, in this lifetime. But, you know, all what I see is a projection of, like, what's going on inside of me and what has been going on inside of me, you know, throughout my multiple lifetimes. You know, and I brought that up, like, you could have been like a reason why you have an energy disrespecting women or being like a pimp or something like that, because you could have been a being, or again, and even before even having, again, physical flesh, like, they just started as energetic expressions, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the great mother, you know, expand outwardly, you know, in some way, form, or fashion in this act of, you know, sex with the masculine, and then, you know, having little situations along the way that you could see as, like, you know, not say mistakes, but again, that's the aspect of the mother energy that feels like apologetic, like, baby mama don't know how to do it all by herself, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's an archetypical energy because of the primordial mother, you know, is an expression of that energy, you know what I'm saying? Also, you know, that mother energy of, I brought you in this world and I could take you out. Like, I get that all quote unquote rules to this realm may not be uh fit into every little aspect of, you know, what, how you feel it should fit, but it is what it is. Like, I did my best as a mother energy. That's why that's an archetypical energy. You know, you got the son that's neglected and he acts out, you know, the Yadala broth energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then, you know, all those energetic expressions, you know, and then the aspect of the interaction between those expressions, you know what I'm saying? You got the interaction of fire, water, you know, earth and air, you know what I'm saying? Where fire at one time was just all it knew was fire, you know what I'm saying? Burn shit, you know, and be spontaneous, you know what I'm saying? Until it connected with, you know, water and learned how to balance itself out, you know, earth, you know, being solid or whatever, you know what I'm saying, until they learn how to connect with air, you know what I'm saying. You know, and matter of fact, again, I always bring up like breathing is like the air element and the earth element having sex, you know what I'm saying, because the air enters, you know, penetrates, you know, your nostrils, for better or worse, you know, as much as, you know, we're all adults here, but your nostrils are openings in our bodies mimic a vagina, you know what I'm saying, like point blank period. You know, it's like a portal, you know what I'm saying? Now, how you deal with your portals, to each his own. Let's just put it like that. To each his own on how you deal with your portals, you know, of what you consume in your portals and what you excrete from your portals, you know. But again, that's a sexual act. Breathing in and out, thrusting in and out. That's sex, and that's why it's so important why we're having sex, to be breathing properly or exercising in any way, form, or fashion, you know what I'm saying? Like, the breathing is a part of the, you know, the whole thing. But yeah, right now, again, being ourselves to the fullest, because I even thought about, like, blending entertainment with enlightenment, or, like, how I like to joke a lot. And I've seen it spoke on in a sense of like, oh, well, you know, you shouldn't, you know, tell jokes or bring those two realms together. But, you know, again, like I always bring up with certain books that's written already, like, you know, who's to say Judy Hall and Robert Simmons are the last thought or melody, you know, but these are popular books or whatever. Not knocking them, I've learned from them as well. But the sense of like, you know, who's to say that's the last books to be written on crystals? Like, you know, like you could write a book on a crystal, I could write a book on a crystal. Like, you know, like, again, it's like, for lack of a better word, new things being expressed, you know, new to this lifetime and what we have seen. But again, like, we're expressing our uniqueness, you know what I'm saying? Like, we all are a unique expression of the whole, you know what I'm saying, of the interconnected web, you know, in that sense of it, you know. So again, a lot of us like tapping in, and we're again maybe going through somewhat of a little dark night of the soul energy, you know, to really, in most cases right now, like if you're going through a lot of dark night of the soul energy, it's probably to embrace a certain shadow aspect, you know. Matter of fact, just to let you in. But again, like, and I spoke on that, shout out to Tatiana, Love Language, you know, for bringing that into my reality of, like, you know, sitting down and talking to, you know, all your different soul fragments, all your different past lives, you know, again, like healing the inner mother, the inner father, and the inner child. Like, this is something that's very key right now, you know what I'm saying? And always key now is the vibrate, so it's always key to make sure that we're, you know, transmuting energies, not trying to like, oh, let me just get rid of this demon, but did you understand why that demon exists? You know what I'm saying? Why do quote unquote demons, or these how I say, these opportunists exist? You know what I'm saying? These opportunists exist in our reality for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything has its place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I even think of like tripping out on mosquitoes. I'm like, bruh, so it's like I I've yet to realize like what purpose something just always trying to suck my blood, but it serves a purpose. If it wasn't for standing up, a person wouldn't have invented the chair. You know, if it wasn't for it getting so hot, somebody wouldn't have created the air conditioner. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for mosquitoes biting the shit out of you, nobody would have discovered that citronella helps to keep them at bay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all a learning process, and it's due to, you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for how crazy the government and Donald Trump seemed, then nobody would be, looking for for a different way to, operate in this reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all serves a purpose. Like, all of it. But yeah, to me right now, that's the deeper aspect. It's like just going within, like, and really just going through, like, question ourselves and everything. Like, why do I feel like smoking right now? Like, why do I feel like sparking this blunt? Am I depressed about something? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I, like, with everything, just, and not to the point where you're over analyzing in your mind, but just, again, like, having that inner dialogue and questioning, and have that intentions to question and get an answer, but then, no preconceived notion or no, like, preconceived notion of how the answer is going to come to you. Like, like, not, like, what it is. Intentions without expectations. Intentions without expectations. I got the intent to, to learn, like, all right, why do I catch downloads but then want to hurry up and run and express them, Because that's something that I've been working on, like, is to really sit there and digest my downloads, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it's a balance, because I know part of me hurry up and sharing the download is for people to see that shit we all tapped into the same shit in the essence of, like, whether I hurry up and express it, and I say hurry up, whether I express it as soon as it come to me or after it's digested, it's still that same, still the same words. But I have seen it in my past where, I'm able to break it down, hence why you do have some of these hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long videos. I'm able to take a download, break it down, and then tie in all these other different correspondence that connect with that, with that one aspect of subject matter, you know what I'm saying? Can you truly observe without judgment? I mean, yeah, you can, but again, by you even asking that question in some way, form, or fashion, you must feel like it's either impossible or a very tough situation. And you just got to get in the habitual nature of doing it. We've been in the habitual nature of judging everything we see. There's a difference between discernment and judgment. Now, some people use those words interchangeably and kind of to mean the same thing. For me, it means two different things. Like, discernment and judgment are different. Like, judging is like, like, actually, like, judging something that's good or bad, right or wrong, or, like, the aspect of, like, so say, for instance, I could like hot water, but I don't judge or feel like, cold water ain't shit because I like hot water. No, I just like hot water. They both are. They it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no judgment towards either one. You know what I'm saying? It's like they are what they are in the aspect of, like, observing, somebody who's eating a lot of food, where you could judge them, like, look at that old fat person. Like, that's a judgment. Like, look at that fat person. They so gluttonous. You judging the aspect. I mean, again, we beings who have been through, multiple incarnations and have, a lot of us have been around to express ourselves in so many different ways, where you could have once been that fat person. You could have once been that person that's on dope and can't quit crack. You know what I'm saying? Like you once could have been that energy, you know what I'm saying? And on a bigger scale, you just understand like you get to a place of like, cause some like how some people be like, man, I can't understand why these people do this or that. I can't understand why people get fat. I can't understand, why. And in most cases, that person, you know, saying that is doing something that somebody else could be like, I can't understand why you could talk about somebody else and can't understand it. Why somebody else just living their fucking life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all in that same analogy, but again, yeah, you could observe without judgment, you know what I'm saying? Like, at one time, judging, like, oh, man, that person eating meat, bro, you know, they unwoke or something like that, or, they, they ain't smart, they eat meat, this and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a judgment compared to, like, to each his own. Like, I choose not to eat meat. And again, by saying that, that's not judgment. Like, I choose not to eat a certain way, or I choose to eat a certain way, but I have no judgment towards somebody who does otherwise, you know what I'm saying? Like, to each his own, to each his or her own, I should say. And then discernment, though, is like, where you in a situation and you could feel like, oh, this person, may be being, on either side of the spectrum, where you feel the energy of like, oh, this person is being very genuine. I could feel it. My heart's discernment is letting me know that this person is, uh, I'm feeling their vibe. Or somebody come around and it's like, oh, I'm not really feeling that vibe. I'm not really feeling that energy. You know what I'm saying? Of what, what's coming off. So it's like a discernment, you know what I'm saying? Like, this person might, it feels kind of sneaky, and just because, so again, discernment is not judgment, because you're discerning what you feel. I feel that this is the energy this person giving off, but I'm not judging, them as like good or bad, right or wrong. This is just what I feel, and I'm going to act upon what I feel. This is not a judgment. If I feel that, a person is gonna act a certain way, that's not in alignment with me. It's not judging to feel that and be like, all right, I'm gonna walk away from this situation, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using a small example, but but yeah, it's and again, it's just getting stronger and stronger about, again, like that inner dialogue, self-examination, like going within ourselves, seeing, like, again, like we dealing with certain little lesson loose. Why am I in this area? Like, what subconscious programming, what programming, in this aspect of the algorithm is running to have me being like this, or have me doing this, like, why do I always come back and forth to Louisiana? Why do I, you know, dislike people who still talk about the Bible? Why do, you know what I'm saying? Like, because again, that's another thing too. Heart light as a feather. Like, shit. I'm passionate about expressing the truth, but I'm not gonna like let my heart weigh heavier than a feather off of like, oh, them people still connected to the Bible, or they still preaching Jesus, that makes me mad, or this and that. Well, then you're gonna end up, coming back into this reality because you didn't understand that, again, all of this reality is, connected to you, no matter whether there's a cockroach, you know, somebody that was raised in a cave or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, however it go, this is all an aspect of your creation, you know what I'm saying? How responsible of a God or a parent are you to neglect your children, to neglect your seeds, you know what I'm saying? And again, there's a way to, be in this world and not of it, you know what I'm saying, to express ourselves and connect with, things that are quote unquote material, but not get caught up in it, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's another aspect too, it's like, just express, just be, because at the end of the day, like, we're gonna have certain little addictions, we're gonna have certain desires, and in a paradoxical way, you could be addicted to trying not to be addicted to something. Like where you're just addicted to finding ways to not be addicted to something. Like it could get paradoxical in that nature, you know what I'm saying? Like again, you could be calling yourself eating healthy, but because you still have judgment towards one food is, oh, this is a bad food and this is a good food. It's all fuel and you choose which one, but because you have a judgment, you'll be indecisive. Oh, this one don't have as much magnesium as the other one, so I don't know. Or this one, you know what I'm saying? So you'll get stressed out with your decision making, you know, just as much more than if you actually ate whatever it is you feel is quote unquote unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it all goes back to, the balance of the mind, body, and soul, but definitely again like the mental aspect, the subconscious mind. You know, but you could get addicted to meditation in a way that doesn't serve your highest good. Because again, we're here to express, you know what I'm saying? Like, and to each his own, though. On that aspect, I always leave that little room for the aspect of, if somebody came down here to be addicted to meditation or whatever, that's a part of their path, and then or they get to a place of realizing, like, all right, damn, I really want to express myself more and have a family in this lifetime, or do this or do that, but I just sat on a rock meditating all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, to each his own, because another thing, it's not about taking any suggestion. Like, you should live your life as you see it, not how Universal expressed or suggested in a video. And not that I make suggestions on how you should live, but like, you get in the midst of expressing things in videos all the time, you might not always say, hey, but don't listen to, like, that's a disclaimer that should just be already running for you to understand, like, hey, take what resonates, what resonates in your heart, resonance, is resonating with your heart, and leave what don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, point blank, period. But again, you could be addicted to not being addicted, or you could be desire to have no desires. Like, my main desire is to have no desires. That's still a desire. You still, you know what I'm saying? And once we start to realize these certain things, just like with vices, like your vice might not no longer be herb or, alcohol, but you're turning into something else that could still be just as detrimental to you. Is just not a chemical substance that's labeled a drug or the normal aspect of what a vice is considered to be. You know what I'm saying? But a vice, in any sense, could be anything that that has some type of little addiction. But again, also the aspect of vices, in essence, is in connection with being in this earthly plane. You know what I'm saying? Like, expressing ourselves on the physical level. Like, sometimes again, ebb and flow. Sometimes I'm a smoke herb. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm a not. You know what I'm saying? And then again, getting back to that understanding aspect, like with the life pad numbers and stuff like that. The life pad number 4, it's like structured, practical, very strong at like making sure things is hands on, you know what I'm saying, diligent about the work, stuff like that. And on the flip side, I could get into a place of, and also too, we're researching like the zodiac life path numbers and even dealing with crystals. It's like, find yourself just going about your day as you would, and then you come back and see, like, after you research, oh shit, that these things have been lining up for me in some way, form, or fashion. Because that's a part of my aspect. Like, I work diligently. I I love to express myself and be in some way, form, or fashion hands-on about things, and like I don't really trip out if it's not my business. I'm just like, if my hands are being put on it in this expression of, hey, this is what Universal or KarlHaynes worked on, and I'm gonna make sure that shit shows it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I'm wired. Again, we're all uniquely wired different. You know what I'm saying? Like, for one person to express themselves in this realm, they got to do certain things that may be unagreeable with the next person, you know what I'm saying? And you'll fuck around and be lost or be mad at yourself or feel like you're tripping because you're trying to follow a suggestion from somebody else, follow somebody else's blueprint. And, you know, and again, it'll just get you back to a place where you see like, oh shit, you know, I should have just been listening to me all along, you know what I'm saying? Like, I spoke on that in the video. I ain't dropped it yet, but there's a little think fast about that. Like, you know, like the Zen teachers, like all the stories of them. Matter of fact, Zen, what it is, Zen Flesh and Zen Bones is a great little book. I always end up getting me a copy of that book over and over again, because I end up sharing it too. But Zen Flesh and Zen Bones got like a lot of little Zen stories and stuff like that. And, you know, and all these little stories of like the monks having to carry water or do this, do that. And they really going through all these different things in a lot of cases just to get to the realization like you didn't have to do all this shit. Like you already, you know, enlightened. Like you already connected with the one. You just gotta, you know, tap into that inner guidance system and express yourself. Like, you know, like tap into your inner guidance system and express whatever you're inspired to express in your now moment. Now in your now moment, express your, you know what I'm saying, that divine soul spark that you are, you know what I'm saying? Like in all those lessons, go back to that, and hence why they be going through shit, getting hit with a stick and all that, to get to a place to realize, like, bruh, like that's the whole guru job in that sense of it, is to make the person realize that you don't need me. Like I'm not your guru. You know what I'm saying? Like in a paradoxical way that may still make that person somewhat like a teacher or a guru in a sense of it, but again, not from a unhealthy ego standpoint, and from a aspect that promotes self-empowerment. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very key right now, is realizing the self-empowerment aspect. Like it's about you empowering yourself, you know, and not having to, you know, keep like relying on somebody else to align your chakras, you know. At some point, you know what I'm saying, like again, like with certain healing modalities, you know what I'm saying, we'll, you know, go to certain people for these things, but then at some point, you know, get to a place, you know, of doing these things yourself, you know, being able to heal yourself. Yeah, definitely having to embrace the light and the dark. Like, it's all aspects, you know, that create the being. But matter of fact, I'm just seeing, but be you to the fullest. You know, always understanding that everything is a reflection. Everything you see externally is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. You know, that's always a marker as well. As a matter of fact, shout out to Offset going on the Black Magic channel. Shout out to that. That's another thing too for all the YouTubers right now. We about to, the collaboration rate is about to like like that collaboration vibe is coming up strong. I got like two little situations I'm working on collaborations, but yeah, the collaborations is definitely, you know what I'm saying. Matter of fact, I don't know how to say your username, but Miss Shia I am. Plug in your YouTube channel right now. Put everybody on your YouTube channel. How they could get to your YouTube and your you said Facebook too. But, yeah. Cause that's another thing too I was gonna speak on. I think I got it in some of these notes, how fear could take a back door. You know, fear finding a back door into spirituality, where you're over spiritual, like a person who's always trying to catch the Holy Ghost in church. You know, you feel like, oh, if I'm overly like, oh, praise this and that and give thanks for, you know, like, yeah, it's about us giving thanks, you know, and being grateful for our existence. But if we have, with anything, if we're having to say it more than is actually showing up, then we're using those words to cover for some actions that we're not taking care of. So be aware of that, you know, with yourself. And again, like, don't fear anything, you know what I'm saying? Cause that New Age movement shit have motherfuckers fearing their own growth. Like, oh, cause I'm not what so and so said that this portal was opening on 2020, and I'm not what, you know, they said that everybody gonna be in the video or this and that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? No comparison to nobody else. Yeah. Cause another thing too, not enjoying your moment. Like, I've seen myself do that. Well, like, because I'm like trying, like, I'm taking it too serious. Cause another thing, again, always being lighthearted and not taking things too serious. But I be like not enjoying my moment because I'm constantly trying to do something that's labeled spiritual out of fear. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit, man, I want to make sure. You know, because of course, you know, there is that aspect of us wanting to make sure. You know what I'm saying? We align with transition and knowing that this, you know, this reality is a game. You know. But not to the point of what we fear it, you know what I'm saying? Again, because the fear, the energy of fear itself is a heavy energy, you know, and it's a valid emotion, it's a valid feeling for it to come up and arise. It's like a meter, you know. It's good to know that our gas tank is empty when it's empty, you know, so we could fill it up. But yeah, that whole aspect where fear could take that back door, you know what I'm saying? Again, in the fear of not being able to leave this realm or go to a higher dimension, you know, you're not enjoying your moment because you're kind of like treating your spiritual growth, you know, and that's again, that could be child trauma, you know, traumatized from your parents telling you, you know, you always got to stay busy. And if you ain't making good grades or you're not excelling, or whatever the definition of excelling is, then you're a failure. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's trauma again, like finding out, like, all right, that's why I fucking act like that on my spiritual, you know, on my journey. I don't even like to use that word. Like, just in my journey in this lifetime, I do these things because, you know, when I was fucking 5, I remember my mom and dad always would get on me for this. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's allowing for all those moments to come up. Because, again, diagnosis, in order to properly diagnose something, I gotta acknowledge it. And gnosis means to know, acknowledge, knowledge, you know, to acknowledge it, you know, and diagnosis, you know, to really see what's going on in order for me to heal it. Because if I got a broke leg, but then, like, picture like a broke leg is like the shadow aspect, like the darkness within you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shadow leg. I'm sorry. I thought it was funny, but your leg, the broken leg. You know what I'm saying? If you like, oh no, I ain't gonna, you know, look at that broke leg because it, you know, that's negative. That's painful. That broke leg hurt. I'm not gonna look at that. You know what I'm saying? By you neglecting it, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna the broke leg gonna get worse. You know what I'm saying? and almost like acting out. And the same thing with our, our darkness in that sense of it. It goes to acting out. Whenever we not giving it the proper attention and the proper acknowledgement, and that proper acceptance, acceptance of those shadow aspects, and taking judgment from it. Like it's neither good nor bad. It was a part of my growth. I forgive, that energy. And also, again, I appreciate you because, you serve a purpose in my reality. You know what I'm saying? But again, just having that inner dialogue, like, I realize, like, a lot of the game is, like, like, talking to yourself. And I guess that's why they say crazy people, they set that up. Like, crazy people talk to themselves. Like, shit, well, I'm crazy as a motherfucker because I definitely be, And again, this is not, like, that rambling shit, like all them thoughts, because there's a difference. I'm just so gonna say that, like, like, just, like, rambling about random shit in your head, that's different. That's the unhealthy aspect of inner dialogue. Like inner dialogue meaning deliberately, you know what I'm saying? Again, like asking yourself, asking higher self, because again, it is yourself. Teach his own, or if you want to call it spirit guides, angels, and all these different things, because that's okay. However you interface, however it works for your subconscious is the best way for you to go about it. You know what I'm saying? But, realizing you're talking to yourself and having that inner dialogue, and asking, and you'll get that little insight of when you're walking right into, that little programming energy signature of, acting out whatever this subconscious programming, that no longer serve a purpose. As you about to act it out, your higher self tapping your shoulder like, hey, right here, what you about to do right now is a part of a little programming from you, that you asked about, here it is, right here, about to play out in your face, and you get to see it and know what it is and understand it. Matter of fact, that's why this baby right here, that black obsidian is the truth. And just like Moldavite, they're amorphous, so they have no structure, hence why they shake things up, you know what I'm saying, because it's not necessarily about structure. Like amorphous crystals almost got like a Pluto energy in general, because it's going to create some transformation and some death energy. No coincidence that Moldavite and fucking black obsidian, creates this, their energies are very strong at transformation. Cause that's what the tip I'm on right now for sure. I'm like, I want to see it all, man. I ain't trying to run. Like, and not who won't smoke, because again, it's another thing. It's not no warfare. Like, it's a great way to, and again, it's all about imagination, imagination, what you picture from the darkness in your mind, you know what I'm saying, with that visual light. You know what I'm saying? But just imagine again, like the inside of your body, like fucking a movie, like like Osmosis Jones, I always bring up that as above, so below, as within, so without. And like these energies inside of you are like having like little, picture them having meetings, like you got a representative from the root chakra, representative from the sacral chakra, and they got like a little council, and they come together and they talk every morning, and they like, all right, guys, crown chakra check, you know what I'm saying? First eye chakra check, you know what I'm saying? Throat chakra, throat chakra, like, but like, have fun with it, you know what I'm saying, in that sense. Because I feel like that's very key, and I've seen a lot of, again, like transformation within my own realm of the imagination and visualization aspect, because that's like what I tell people, like there's a lot of things that work for me, and I may still have blockages because the blockages in another area, you know what I'm saying, so it's overall, being a hindrance regardless, even if it's in a particular area. Yeah, I might have seen myself find that sweet spot of manifestation, but it's only on a small scale due to, or it only was, that word magic, only was on a small scale because of certain blockages, you know what I'm saying? There's certain ways of looking at things in certain areas that was, you know, uh, blocking it from coming through, and hence, constantly doing that work and asking myself, like, all right, you know, why is this going on? You know, why I feel kind of, like whatever about this energy, like just again dealing with self. Like shea butter. Hey, did I cut my hair? Does it look like I cut my hair? Nah, I didn't cut my hair. That's been a key thing too, that balance of and that's for me more so, and I'm pretty sure that it could be showing up in other people realities, but just making sure of staying on the humble, especially with having like a platform like this. And I think that's why it was seeming like taboo to mix like an aspect, and which not really, because honestly when you look at a lot of like great teachers, they always had like some little jokes or something they would say that make you like bust out laughing in their lectures or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I see that coincide with each other, but I definitely like, like that comedy, and that's why stepping into a podcast more so, it just has less of that energy of like, hey, I'm presenting something, you know what I'm saying, that's here to teach you in the formal way of doing it. Because I feel like, another aspect of, or one of the main aspects of, of teaching, is the aspect of just being a beacon, by example, for the most part, you know what I'm saying? For me, reason why it falls in a place of, expression verbally, because that's just something that I'm great at doing, something that's just first nature, like I could run it, and to laugh at those moments when I come across the reflection of myself of talking a lot, and I had something against that reflection, and that's why I was dealing with that energy, because instead of looking at my whole my whole coin, I was looking at it as the talkative side of me versus the quiet side of me. Fight. And that's how you get these inner wars that go on inside of you, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what a real warfare is, is inside of you. And hence why everything is about, the media and quote unquote Hollywood, in the sense of like trying to, program your subconscious, because if you don't program your subconscious, somebody else will. And that's, kind of like, again, like just the name of the game, it's like, again, seeing the inside of your body is like, again, like you got these demiurge energies, like the gods of the body, this bodysuit, that again, this bodysuit only comes from within this creation. So so the gods within this bodysuit, in essence, would just be from this creation, and worried about the more fleshy aspects of this being. And again, not for them to be seen as bad or good. Again, it's like gotta find some middle grounds. We need balance, like Wayne on that verse. We gotta find middle grounds. We need balance, like straight up. Like you gotta have it all come together. The mind, body, and soul. Like, all right, body. We're gonna eat like this. You know what I'm saying? Like having that talk, like Gonna have a little something to fulfill the taste buds. All right, for the thoughts, we're gonna make sure we got some food again, like, cause the body is gonna connect with the, it's connection with soul and mind. So, also like having that connection, like I'm gonna eat food. Hey, all right, mind, I got you. I'm gonna get some blueberries, some walnuts, some omega 3s, some ginkgo biloba. All right, hey, so I'm getting some energies, some foods or energies to bring light into the body. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, whatever resonates for you. At the end of the day. But I'm out.